What's going on, people? It's Spud here, and welcome to episode 70 of the Roundup. 70 episodes in now, it's actually crazy. Because I remember walking home from work, deciding I wanted to do something like this back in April 2024. So we've been doing the Roundup now for over 2 years as well. We recently celebrated our 2-year anniversary, I kind of forgot about it. So thank you to anyone that has watched at least 5 seconds of a Roundup in that time. I do really appreciate it. Um, it's kind of crazy. So in today's episode, we're going to be looking back at the start of the Major 3 qualifiers as Koi go 2-0, Vancouver Surge go 2-0. I was actually going to do Vancouver Surge as the thumbnail, but they had episode 66, so I thought we'll go with Koi because we've not done Koi for a while. Koi, and there we go 2-0. FaZe go 2-0, and Gentlemates go 2-0, so a lot of 2-0s to start with. A couple of good debuts, a couple of poor debuts, but we actually have Minor 1 next week. Obviously, the minor tournaments this season are in Split 3 and 4. So we'll be looking at the bracket. We're going to do our prediction, but we're not going to fill out a bracket for the prediction. We're just going to look at the bracket, and I'll tell you who I think is going to win. Obviously, a little bit of cash up for grabs, a few CDL points. I'm interested to see what happens. We're also, sorry, we're also going to be talking about Siege Showdown 2, which was very controversial. Siege Showdown 2, which was broadcasted on Twitch last night. Team Spud do take down Team Cult V2. But unfortunately, the second map was cut short due to Team Cult V2 no longer wanting to take part in it, so it was a forfeited map. So it was a 2-0 win, but we'll talk about that when we get to it. If you do enjoy this episode of the Roundup, please do like and subscribe. I have so many YouTube videos I need to make. Like, I'm not even joking when I say this. I've got like 4 scheduled. So I've got this one, top FIFA 50 songs, which I mentioned on stream. Obviously, I've been streaming a bit more recently, twice a week, 2 or 3 times a week potentially. So make sure to subscribe, to follow the Twitch channel. I'll put the link in the description. So the FIFA songs one, top 50 FIFA songs of all time. What else is there? Oh, yeah, Liverpool rebuild for next season, even though we know Arne Slot's going to be there, and what life's going to be like without Mo Salah at Liverpool. It's going to be sad. And also my Premier League team of the season, which I could just wait till after the season's finished, but I don't think anyone in my team is going to change. Potentially 1 or 2 players in the forward line, but apart from that, everything else is pretty secure. So yeah, got a lot of videos on the go. Then obviously we're gonna have like World Cup predictions. We've got a lot of Spud Ball coming in the summer. I do think that when this CDL season finishes, which actually is on the same day as the World Cup final, I do think that we're gonna be putting a lot of videos in Spud Ball series around that time, especially with the World Cup. I think there'll be a lot to talk about. Anyway, enough mumbo jumbo from me because that was a fucking long intro. Let's get into the matches. So we start with Gentlemates versus Royal Ravens, and this was a 3-1 win here for Gentlemates. Obviously it was Fire's debut. He did go positive. Lurk's been the best player on the team again. For Ravens, not a surprise. I think he has been a very good, very, very, very good player. And there is talk that Royal Ravens don't want to sell him this summer. Don't want to sell him mid-season, but next season they'd be willing to sell him. Apparently, depends on how long his contract is. Ravens did take map 1, a bit of a rough one from Sib and Envoy here. But Ravens did take map 1, but after that was a pretty dominant win for the Major 1 champions. You know, they got top 6 at the LAN in Birmingham, not great, but obviously this is an important split for them now. Then we had Miami versus LA Thieves, and LA Thieves won this one 3-1 here. If we look at the stats, Abizi, you know, he's been the one that's been getting a lot of criticism this season. But he does do well here. He does pick up a 1.2 KD. On the other side, Super and Trex, Renko having a rough one. And then Metals, again. Metals is an interesting one because they have obviously got Real on the bench now. And obviously he could definitely potentially take that spot. Now, Breaking Point didn't actually show any clips here. I don't know if this is a thing, if they've just got rid of the clips. If they have, that's fine. I'll only show, like, major winning players, most likely. By the way, I've been talking, obviously, like, with the Roundup. I want to get to that 100th episode. So we probably will carry it on next season, but then after that, we might. I'm not 100% sure. But it's not like I'm having to put in as I don't. You can probably tell that the episodes aren't as long as they used to be. We don't really break down players as much. It's mainly just reporting what's happened at this moment in time. Um, I don't know. It could have just been that series, but yeah, this was a banging series, by the way. For a 3-0 here, look at how close it was. 250 to 249. This was Nero making his debut on Vancouver. Raid 6-4 and Scar Overlord 7-5. Obviously, we've got some new maps as well. Plaza, we'll talk about Plaza. Absolute banging map. And obviously, Fringe is in the rotation now. Obviously, a former Black Ops 3 map. So yeah, 3-0 here, Surge. Nero's debut does go positive, but the standout player here is Gwyn. Good series from Gwyn. And Surge needed these points because obviously the top 8 qualify for champs, and Surge have had a really rough start to the season. Even with these 2 wins that they get this weekend, they are only on 85 points and currently find themselves in 10th, so they need to make a run. Then our first series on Saturday was FaZe versus Boston, and this was a very, very convincing 3-0 win. Obviously, Afro's debut not going that well. Why they kept Purge is a mystery. 0-4 carrying on his Major 2 form here, though, with a nice 1.26. He'll be very happy because he'll have been absolutely buzzing to play for FaZe. And obviously, a lot of FaZe fans and just Call of Duty fans were expecting / wanted him dropped for his performances leading up to that Major 2 finals, and then he just became good all of a sudden. But yeah, good showing there. Boston have definitely made a mistake, in my opinion, keeping hold of Purge instead of going for either a Kenny or just any SMG. And I think that Purge won't be in this team by the end of the split. Koi here, 3-1 win against Riyadh Falcons. Falcons do take the Overlord. We did get our first Plaza game. It's crazy. The round's finishing like 20 seconds because it's such a small map. It's crazy that it's actually a CDL map. If we look at the stats here, Insight with a bit of a rough one in terms of the damage. But I believe he did have a lot of hill time on them hard points. Not really, 91, 98. He had a bit. Joe Deceives, though, obviously has been Koi's best player this season. And he does carry that on here with a nice series. Obviously, we're going to talk about Joe on the MVP ladder because I feel like he has been kind of misjudged a bit by myself this season. He might potentially have snuck himself into the top 10 after these 2 series. Celium goes positive, but Falcons are in trouble. This potential roster move has obviously just destroyed their morale, and they're not looking good. I think Xnid is going to have to be dropped. It's a shame because I think he's a good player, and obviously Falcons want to have Saudi talent in the team, which completely makes sense in my opinion. But I just think that they're not going to be able to challenge for anything with him in the team. Then we have Gentlemate's second series, and they played G2. And it is a rough weekend here for G2. As they do go on 2. It is a 3-1 win here for Gentlemates. The S&D, however, was won by G2. Ghosty with a 1.5, a very strong series from Ghosty. Sib had a bit of a rough weekend, but Gentlemates, they won both their matches, so they won't be too worried about that. Points-wise, Gentlemates will be fine to make champs. You know, they've won an event, they'll be fine. But obviously they'll want to get as high up as possible. They'll want to win more. They're not just going to be happy with one event win this year, so yeah. On the G2, they're in a bit of a rough place at the moment in terms of their, I don't know what's wrong with my voice, by the way. Sorry, guys. I've got so many videos to make today as well. But actually, I'm doing at least 2 today. Skies has dropped off a little bit. You know, he was in the running for most improved player for me. But yeah. I actually don't know who my most improved player of the season is. That should have been like not a ladder, but no. Actually, I should have done like a ladder for that. You know, maybe we'll do that from next week or next season. I'll have a think about that. I'm not gonna do one for like hard point player of the year or anything like that. That'll just be who I pick. But you know, most improved could be an interesting ladder to have. Then we had Vancouver Surge versus Royal Ravens. Obviously, Nero against his old team that he got dropped for Gooning. 3-2 win here. a blowout in that Plaza S&D. It was a S&D masterclass from Surge. The reverse sweep was denied by Surge, obviously. Ravens did bring it back. If we look at the stats here, Lurks, like I say, Lurks is a very, very good player for the Ravens. 13,000 damage, most damage in the lobby. He was the best player in this series, but obviously the MVP goes to the person that wins, and that will be Lunas. With a 1.24, decent showing from Lunas. I'll be honest with you, I didn't watch that much Call of Duty this weekend. Um, I didn't, and I don't know why I didn't. I watched Optic series, and I watched the Koi Falcon series, and I genuinely think that might have been it. I don't know why I've not been watching as much, but with Minor One, obviously we'll be there. We obviously watched so much of the Major Two, but obviously it was hard because of the UK times. And like I've said, if they have an event in the UK next year, I will be going to that. I will be able to show some footage. That's on there, a bit of a vlog type of thing. But yeah, a good series there from Surge. Raven 2 obviously relying on online points. 0-2 is not a great start. Then we had Koi versus Boston. Oh no, I watched this series as well. I watched Koi versus Boston. And yeah, everyone positive except Insight, but Insight had a fine series. He didn't do anything wrong. Nasty, the only positive player on the breach. If we actually look at the, if we look here, Insight obviously had a decent S&D. He was the main reason that they lost that, because I've just realised they lost that. He's not the main reason they lost that. Insight's a weird one because obviously he did really well at the event, but you can see that he is still the weak link of this team in terms of fragging. But then again, Envoy used to be like that. Hixie used to be like that for Koi. Is Insight just their Hixie Koi their Hixie Envoy this season potentially? But like a 0.9 isn't too bad. Don't get me wrong. But like at the event, he was pulling like 1.2s, 1.3s in must-win matches. Koi obviously look good still. I think that they'll be all right. But yeah. We'll have to see how they do in the minor event really, and just in the future weeks. Obviously, Fringe, we saw quite a bit of Fringe S&D, which is nice. Falcons here, though, do lose again. I think they'll make a roster change soon. They're going to have to. But I think they're just going to have to ignore the Saudi player. Go for a buyout, potentially. Funny enough here, on the FaZe side, a 1.09, a 1.10, and a 1.11. Very close in the KD departments there for Boozer, Draza, and Simp. However, I would be definitely going to Boozer for that MVP just because obviously he did get 13,111 damage. And he did get it, but you actually only got just over half the votes. But yeah, it's looking rough here. I mean, it was the last two maps were quite close. I mean, fragging wise in the Overlord, no. O4 had a rough. I sound like a dog saying that. He had a rough map 4 with a 0.6, but FaZe got the job done. His teammates bailed him out, and that's really all that matters. But yeah, Falcons are definitely in a bit of trouble now. I don't know what they're gonna do. But whatever they do, they have to make the decision quick. Obviously, it's an improvement of last season, but that wasn't going to be any hard to be. That wasn't going to be any. That wasn't going to be hard to be worse than to be better than last season. Sorry. Final match of the weekend, we did have Optic playing Cloud9, and Cloud9 did take the S&D in around 11, but apart from that, it was a pretty straightforward series here for the Optic. Hugh and Shotzi, the best players on Optic side. On Cloud9 side, not the best, but I think this Cloud9 team is just going to stick for the rest of the season now. That's my prediction. And it is going to be a no champs for them. Top 12 at the major. They obviously did win a couple of series last split, so credit to them for that. Like, I can't say that, they beat the major one champs. But Optic are just going to always beat Cloud9. The S&D masterclass there from Shotzi and Hugh, but they still didn't win it. The other two letting them down a bit. Dashing Shotzi with a nice gridlock win. And then obviously on that first map, Hugh went 40 and 25. The nuke did go off. And yeah, that is your first week of qualifiers. So we have the minor one tournament. I'll just remove the webcam because you obviously can't. Because normally we do the actual prediction on. Because we normally do the actual prediction on like with the actual like we fill it in, but we're not going to fill it in. I'm just going to say it instead. So obviously, if you want to know who wins, who I think will win, you're gonna have to obviously hear that from the horse's mouth rather than through the screen. What I will say though is yeah, what I will say is obviously taking the matter of the fact that whoever I predict to win will not win, seeing as we see this every single event. Um, so yeah, just a reminder of that. So, Koi versus Royal Ravens, I'm gonna go with Koi to win this one 3-1. So they'll play Optic in round two. Obviously, it's single elim this minor tournament. G2 versus Cloud9. I'm going to go with G2, but I think this is actually going to be a game 5. 3-2 here to G2. Falcons versus Surge. Obviously, Surge did win both their series at the weekend, but I am going to go with the Falcons to fight back. I just think they have better firepower. But I'll go 3-1 here, Falcons. Heretics versus Breach. I'm going to go with Heretics to win this one 3-1. So then we'd have Optic versus Koi, and I would go with Optic to win this one 3-1. LA Thieves versus G2, I'm going to go 3-0 LA Thieves. Falcons versus FaZe, I'm going to go 3-1 FaZe, just like it was at the weekend. Um, and then Heretics versus Gentlemates, I'm actually going to go with 3-1 to Miami Heretics, and I think Heretics will take Gentlemates out. So Heretics beat Gentlemates being the only team in the top 4 not to advance into the semi-finals. Semi-finals, then we'd have Optic versus LA Thieves, and I would be going actually here for LA Thieves. I have a feeling LA Thieves will take Optic down here in a 3-1 fashion. And I'm not just saying that to hope that Optic win the event, because it is minor one. I'm not going to start cheering about them winning it. It'd be nice, but it's not a chip or a ring. You know, they've obviously been Silver Surfers this season, so I'd rather they got eliminated in the semi-final than in the final. FaZe versus Heretics, I'm going to go 3-1 to FaZe, so then it'd be a Thieves versus FaZe final, and I'm actually going to go with Thieves here to win this one 3-2. Wait, does it go to a game 7? No, is it a game 7? I think it is a game 7, you know, best of 7. I'm going to go with Thieves to win this. I'm going to say 4-2. No, 4-3, sorry. It's going to go to a game 7. If it's 3-2 or 4-3, because I actually can't remember. The last minor tournament you've got to remember was in like March last year, so it's been a long time. So you have to give me some leeway. I could be wrong. That's my prediction though. Before we move on to the Siege Showdown stuff, we are going to do our ladders. So we'll start with Rookie of the Year. Like I've said, there has been a slight change, and to be honest with you, this guy should have been in. This guy should have been in the top 3 before. I think I just kind of had the major, because realistically Mamba was only in the top 3 because of Major 1 still. So Kips is still number 1 for me. I think Kips will be my Rookie of the Year now, personally. I mean, unless obviously Thieves win an event and win play as well, or something else crazy happens, I do think it'll be Kips now. With Nim second. Obviously, I have put Lurks now in third instead of Mamba. I think that was a decision that should have been done a long time ago. I've got quite a controversial list, I always feel like, for Rookie of the Year. Obviously, there hasn't been any other rookies that have joined the league, I don't think. So the rest of the list is the same. With MVP ladder though, we have made one slight change, and it is that I have actually swapped Rencor and Joe Deceives out. I think Joe Deceives had to be in my top 10, and I wanted to keep a Boozer in there as well with all 4, and obviously Ghosty, and then Ghosty had a really good weekend. So it is still the rest of it is the same, so it's Mercury, Simpuke, Dashi, Shotzi, um, Neptune, Abuser, or 4 Ghostly, and Draw Deceives. Right, so now we're going to talk about Siege Showdown. We're going to talk about Siege Showdown 2, which took place last night on my Twitch channel. So, shout out to everyone that took part. Obviously, I'm a bit disappointed with how it ended. Because of the second map. So, obviously, we managed to get 10 players. For Siege Showdown 1, I don't even think we had 10. I think we had 8. So, we had a couple of new players play. So, these were the teams. So, it was Team Spud, which was obviously myself, Kenny, who's Dupes, Yoshi, and then Kenny's two friends, Ben and Jacob. Obviously, I was told, I didn't know how good they were going to be. Obviously, they played well, especially Jacob, with them 9 kills, 1 death in Oregon. Team Cult V2, or Team TK as I called them, is TK, Daggers, Sport, Leon, and Finbobs. Obviously, people that I play with and talk to all the time. We got map 1 pick, so we went Oregon. They picked Chalet, and then Border was the decider. However, after the first map, the first round was quite close. But after round 1, it got quite dominant. And this was actually a 4-0 win here for Team Spud. As you can see by the stats, everyone on the other team went 1 and 4. Lovely tribute there. Jacob with 9, Kenny with 8, Ben with 2 and an assist as well. I went 1 and 1 with 2 assists. Yoshi actually got an assist, so credit to Yoshi. Whoever died to Yoshi's bullets, though, that's poor. MVP, I didn't make an MVP graphic. I was going to do one with Jacob Sartorius, but I thought let's not do that. So Jacob is the MVP here for Siege Showdown 2. Map 1, sponsored by the RoundUp, of course. Map 2, however, we don't have anything for. Now, I don't actually think the VOD saved on my Twitch, which is a bit disappointing, but it is what it is. We got the first round done, and then they quit. They didn't want to play anymore because they thought the teams were a bit unfair, unbalanced, which I can understand. I just think that it would have been difficult to have actually made fair teams with the players that were available. But obviously, because it's a Siege Showdown, we couldn't just swap the teams halfway through. So we won that second map 1-0. I think Jacob got 2, Kenny got 2, and I got 1. So we won't give an MVP out for that, so it'll just be the MVP for the series was Jacob. Since he did get 11 kills and 1 death in 5 rounds. So we win that map by forfeits. Obviously, we do win this Siege Showdown 2-0, which means I've got 100% win rate in Siege Showdown. I'm the only player to have that. We want to do another Siege Showdown soon, though. So we will keep talking about them on the roundup because, you know, the last time we did, we actually got like 50 odd views on the roundup, so credit where it's due. But we need to make sure that in the next one we do have more fair teams. Because look, the teams were unbalanced in the end, but we obviously didn't know what to expect when we had 2 new players play. It's always going to be difficult to know what's going to actually happen. So I do apologise, obviously, but I still think it was good fun. Well, it was for me anyway. Anyway, that's going to be the end of the roundup for this week. Nearly a 25-minute episode, so not too shabby, Alonso. I appreciate everyone that watches. Please like it if you enjoyed. Every like helps me a lot. Like, I know people don't really think that, but like some weeks we get like 3 or 4 likes, other weeks we get like 8 or 9. I think the most we've ever had is obviously 2024 champs, where we got over 20 likes. But then again, I did ask a couple of people to like that on stream to enter a giveaway, so it was cheating almost. But yeah, thank you very much for watching. Enjoy the rest of your day. This will be out at 6 p.m. tonight. And yeah. See you next week for episode 71. Let's see who wins the minor. Thanks for now. Oh my god, I'm so bad at YouTube shit now. Bye for now.